And then people, good afternoon and welcome back to The Counterpoint with your boy JUSTJOE and of course one Leeds, Connor McGilligan. Listen, it's a bit of an unusual time for us. Normally it's on a Monday, Connor's away. Not really prepared, folks, if I'm honest. That's why I asked for you some questions in the chat. We'll just chew the fat, if you like, and go through some of your questions. But before we do that, please, as always, smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Go over to One Leeds and subscribe over there as well, but you probably already are. Get your comments in and, of course, hit that notification bell. Connor, before we get into the chat, how are you, mate? Are you good?
Yeah, mate, I was all good. I was liking the countdown. It gave me like Tracy Chapman fast cars vibe. You got a fast car.
Have you premiered your intro yet?
I have, mate. Yeah, just did it. I'm there in the background. I completely forgot that the video was going on. I'm there like, yeah.
He had to go one extra, didn't he, and get an extra minute on there.
Just gives me more time to get someone put it in the comment section. They put, he's definitely going to get a cup of tea. I was like, the bastards have got me. I was like, that's how I put an extra minute on. But yeah, man. Aside from that, I'm all good. It's weird, isn't it, Joe? It's like, obviously, we're still doing Leeds content, but it's like, it's a bit mad because we're Leeds sort of fan channels. That's what we speak about invariably. I know you do more generalized content and stuff, but it's a bit mad because the focus is elsewhere now, and I'm sure we'll get into it. But it's I absolutely love the Euros, so it's one of them.
Better than the World Cup for you, bro?
Nah.
Quality wise, do you not think quality wise?
Yeah, quality wise, but I don't know. I love seeing
the World Cup.
I love seeing Brazil and Argentina, just the Argentinian fans, and just I love seeing all the South Americans in there, to be honest.
Yeah, I hear you. I just think as well, like because the Euros is I mean the best teams are in Europe, aren't they? Bar like you mentioned, Brazil, Argentina, a few others potentially, but with the World Cup as well, I think the format now they're making it even bigger, so we'll probably get even worse teams entering into the World Cup. And I know it's good for them nations, but some of the games then are just absolutely dead. Whereas the Euros, I think it's more competitive. I think, but yeah, I'm excited as well. But like you say, the thing is for us this time, Connor, we've got no one really to support either because we're not in the Premier League. So there's like none of our players there. You've got Rasmus, Vober, Aronson, and we'll talk about Aronson because someone put a question in, which I think is a good question, in the Copa America. But outside of that, there is no one, right?
Is Rasmus gone?
Yeah, he's in the Denmark squad, yeah.
I must be watching a different game. I must be watching Polo or something. I don't know what I'm watching, honestly.
I don't know if he'll start, bro, but I think he's in the squad. Here, let's kick it off with that then, right?
Christ.
We spoke about this last week on your show, and as it's gone on another week, I say it's a week, it was Monday, but do you think, because Rasmus was so poor at Roma, and if he doesn't play much in the Danish national setup, that we get him back as well? Like, because Aronson's come back and the PR's gone down a treat. Let's be honest. He spoke really well, and now, listen, I was on board anyway, but now even the most hardened fans are saying, yeah, look, his granddad said he cares about Leeds. And now it's like, do you know what I mean, though? And it works, bro. Come on, it does work.
Yeah, it does.
But they were never going to feed us, someone said to me, they were never going to give us them both at the same time, if that makes sense, because that had just been, what? Do you think Rasmus comes back?
Yeah, I do. I think he comes back, and yeah, I think it sort of eases our right back woes in a sense. It's depth there in it, but
do you think we buy a right back if he comes?
Yeah, I think we do. I think we'll still get one. Connor Roberts, it wouldn't surprise me if we went back in for him.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, but it depends, doesn't it? It depends on what's going to be happening with Burnley and stuff like that. But he's only got a year left on his deal. Yeah. Are they going to offer him a new one? I don't know. He's on like 30 grand a week apparently, which is not bad for upper end championship, I guess. But yeah, I to be honest, mate, I get it. I get it. And Rasmus will come back on and be like, I am back here to fight for Leeds. And it's like, yeah, but Rasmus, like, when you went to Roma, you were going on about the tradition and the size of Roma in comparison to Leeds and all this sort of stuff. And revisionism in football is mad, isn't it? But do you know what, mate? On a basic level, we have, if you'd been to throw Byram in there, I'd take Byram, I'd take Gray, I'd take Lunch Lady Doris over him. Do you know what I mean?
Would you take Shaq?
Over yeah. That's how like, it's just my opinion, but I don't see how he's, I don't get what he is. I've never understood what he is. I honestly, mate, with Aronson, Firpo, Verber, obviously, but Aronson, Firpo in particular, and Dan James, you looked at them and you thought, Dan James, we all sort of knew going down a level, there was going to be a natural increase in his form. Seen it with Swansea, but you know, there's still something there with Dan James. We know that. We know he's maybe poor at decision making, but his attributes fit in the Championship. Aronson, yeah, a lot needs to develop, but there is something there. There's something there. You know, they won't bought him for 30 million quid otherwise. Liverpool were interested in him at one moment as well before we got him. Firpo, Barcelona, Betis, he's clearly got something, but you know, we needed that drop down, didn't he? Positionally, he's still awful in my opinion, but overall, he's a good package at this level. Rasmus, Joe, honestly, mate, I have no idea what that boy. I don't even see him coming down. He's stuck in the mud. He can't underlap, can't overlap, can't hit a ball on the run, can't defend. He's bang average at attacking. He's not quick. I don't get it, mate. I've never understood it with him too. But I also think, Joe, every Leeds fan thinks the same.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that because I was actually surprised because I do. Listen, I'm not. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but Joe Donoghue did the podcast with Graham Smith, and he was actually backing it, which actually took me. And he said he would be a success in the Championship, and he had good numbers at Salzburg and stuff. But from whenever I seen Rasmus, I just didn't get it at all. I think, yeah, like famous words when I said I'm a better left back than Firpo came back to bite me, but I'm definitely a better right back than Rasmus. I'll tell you that much.
I think he's probably hedging his bets, isn't he? Joe's probably hedging his bets and thinking, right, there's a likelihood he's coming back here. I've got to keep all avenues open here as a journalist and think to myself, you know, that I've got.
Well, to be fair, Graham Smith told him straight and was like, "Nah, he's rubbish."
Oh, did he? Right?
yeah. So,
yeah. No, no, I don't know what. I don't know. To be fair, I don't know what Joe's smoking there. I don't see. I'd like to ask him. I'd like to ask him why he thinks that and how. Is it just a drop down a level? Because we know you're going to increase your ability, aren't you, at this level, Joe? But in terms of just attributes, Joe, what does he offer, mate? What does he offer? Madness.
Do you think we are in the? We need to be careful not to fall into that trap of, well, it's a lower division, so they'll all be better. Do you know what I mean? Have I done that with Aronson? Could we do that with Rasmus, Vöber? I know Vöber would light it up, but I don't know. Do you think there's going to be enough done because of how well we did last season from those at the club that they think, do you know what, the division's worse? And this is my thoughts as well. Like, the division's worse. We got 90 points. Do we actually need to do that much? Do you know what I mean? Do you worry about that at all? Because if I'd say, mate, if we did bring Rasmus, I don't think the club get a right back. Because they'd look and think, if Shackleton signs his new deal, we've got 3 there. The number 9, I don't think they're going to touch. No. If they manage to bring Aronson back, is that one of the 10s? Therefore, we don't need to buy. We look into midfield. Well, Gray's now going to play midfield. We've got Kamara, Gruev, Ampadu. Do we actually need out in there? Do you worry about that? Like, where's your head with the transfer window now open, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I think Aronson's. I think he's had a quote earlier on today, hasn't he, when he was playing in Copa America, saying like he had a good chat with Daniel Farke. Yeah, and that's what I mean. So immediately, you're probably getting a scenario where Farke's saying to him, "Look, mate, Somerville's going. We know he's going. That's what we're looking at. We're speaking to clubs in the background, Liverpool, Newcastle, whatever. We know he's going to be going." You'll almost slot in as one of the 10s, as me and you have spoken about, Joe. And you'll slot in as one of the 10s. You're going to be featuring for me next season. And yeah, I mean, that we're significantly weaker there. And I think that's my worry a little bit, how weak we get in these positions, Joe, because obviously we know a road on, I think, is going to be tough. I think it is going to be tough. I think that is, especially if you start just getting lower end Prem clubs looking at him, I think that is going to be a tough one for Leeds to do. Especially with them extended his deal, it's going to be, well.
I think we get him, Connie, you know.
I think Ipswich's interest all of a sudden, I'm a little bit like, me and you've spoken about him with Burgess and Wolfend, and you need an upgrade there. Rodon's just an obvious one for like 8 to 12 million in it. So, yeah, I think that. So we're gonna have to get replacements in there, aren't we? Are we going to keep Cooper on for another year? Is that going to be seen as insurance? I'd hope not. I mean, Wöber coming back in would be, that'd be a brilliant addition at this level. And there's an argument you could say, even though he's left-footed, that could be your replacement for Rodon, because Wöber at this level would be very decent. Yeah. But across the squad, mate, I am a little bit worried. Yeah, that there is just this. It's with Leeds. I can see it in your chat, which is fair. It's opinions and stuff, but it's already, you know, Rasmus, he'll be good in the Championship, and that is the worry. That is the worry. It's everyone's going to be good in the Championship. Everyone's going to be good. Everyone's going to acclimatise. Everyone's going to do well just because of what's happened this season. There's no guarantee that the players that we've got now, if they're to remain with us next season, are also going to keep at those same levels, because they're not going to be, maybe your Somervilles and your Nontos and other players in around them aren't going to be able to up their level as well.
And there is a case of like freshening things up as well, right? Never standing still, and maybe bringing that back players from them loan clauses. Is that really freshening it up? Do they really want to be here? Did they fall out? Like, we remember Cooper's famous comments, if you don't want to be here, F off. Is there going to be a little bit of needle there? By all accounts, from what you hear, I've been listening to Leeds podcasts, I can't remember who said it now, but it was one of the journos, how Aronson was just well-liked by everybody, never upset anybody, always put 100% in training. So it's probably easy for him to make that transition. But if you have got someone like a Rasmus who was, you know, I'm staying, a Voba, I'm staying, and then they fucking do one, that could cause frictions, you know. How do you feel about Farke's comments as well when he said, you know, it's like, I think his words were, it's like rewarming a microwave meal or something like that, bringing a player back who said they didn't want to be. Why would I do that? Do you think, how do you feel about that? Is he being a hypocrite, do you think?
Yeah, I think he's essentially saying there, and he's like, he backs himself, Farke. I'll give him credit for that. He really backs himself. It's like reheating it. It's like, it's almost like, yeah, you come back and I will make you feel like you're part of it, and I will make you feel like a better player, which, you know, is a coach's job, and fair play to him. You know, it's not only a coach, you know, him improving as a player, it's the man management side of it. And clearly him and Aronson have ironed that out a little bit. I do wonder at the start of the season, because there's been a lot of rumours about Aronson didn't know Farke was coming in. And then that makes you think, Joe, doesn't it? Because I think there was a really close time when Aronson went and Farke came in. I'm pretty sure it was only 2 or 3 weeks. And you wonder if back then maybe the club were looking at Rodgers, and you know, that we were speaking about earlier on, maybe that was the number one option. That's what we're led to believe, isn't it? And Graham Potter and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, it brings you back to that a little bit. But I get what he's saying. You know who I'd have loved to have at this level. Rocker. I'd have loved to have him. I know that's a bad thing to say for a lot of fans. I know I get castigated for that a little bit, but
bro, I'm calling Aronson Starboy already, so don't worry about praising Rocker.
Yeah, that's what I mean, mate. I mean, I think he'd have been, you know, his technical ability would have been decent at this level. But it's interesting, Joe, and some people will advocate certain individuals coming down to this level and improving, but others, they wouldn't improve. You know, like Rock as an example in it. Like, if he comes down, he'd still be crap. It's like, oh, okay. But you're saying Kristensen would come down and be good, and Aronson will come down and be good. But I don't know, mate. I think we don't see many of them back, but yeah,
I think it'll be Aronson and Rasmus. I think.
Yeah,
I think that's the two that'll be here. Barry's back with us after he was unblocked on Monday. Look, do you remember we had the convo?
Up the Barry.
Barry. Yeah, up the Barry is back. Mats Hummels has just confirmed that he's leaving Dortmund. Maybe we can convince him to drop to the Championship.
Hey, Farke was Dortmund too, wasn't he?
Yeah, there you go. You go. So, after 13 years, maybe we can say, fancy you going the Championship as your final swan.
That's mad, that, isn't it, as well? Because he was like one of Dortmund's best players in the Champions League.
Didn't go to Germany either. He didn't go to Euros. Nagelsmann didn't pick him, which was a bit... Apparently, he's a bit of a... I don't know, he just says what he feels, and maybe Nagelsmann didn't want that around the camp. So, there you go. Right, okay, this is a good point, Evie. I remember this. Do you remember that first game against Wolves, and he got absolutely twisted up near the touchline, and we were like, oh, okay.
It wasn't, but wasn't it the he got but then Pedence out-jumped him for the goal.
Yeah, wild. Yeah, it was
4'9", Pedence.
Yeah, it was mild. That was Jesse, wasn't it? Jesse told us to sign that guy as well. It weren't even a Victor Orta.
But you know, when you look at him, Joe, genuinely, like, what is it about him? Like, because I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I've given Aronson the benefit of the doubt. I can see it a little bit more. We could do a lot worse. With Rasmus, I'm like, what does he give as a right back? Like, because I can think of many other right backs in that division that are far superior to him. And I'm even looking on Leeds' books. I'm like, we've got better right backs than him anyway. If we went out and signed a Connor Roberts, I mean, the interesting one, Joe, is Archie Gray. I mean, is he going to persist with him at right back, or is he going to send him into central midfield? Does that impact our right back options as well? I've got a bit of a funny feeling he might persist with it,
Well, I did a video the other day with Ben Jacobs, obviously, right, and clipped up a bit about Gray. And then a mutual friend of mine and yours told me that he had a conversation with someone very close to the Gray family. And he said they almost echoed what Ben said, but were sceptical over playing at the right back and wanted him to play in midfield. So I think there might be there could well be a conversation from the Gray side saying, look, I'll give it one more year, but I want to be playing in my preferred position. So that could cause a few issues next year. Like, because we all say we want an 8, right? A lot of us go, we want an attacking 8. We want, someone, an upgrade on Kamara, if you like, someone who's going to take shots, someone's going to drive into the box and not be afraid to, instead of cutting back and always laying it off to someone else. Is Gray that? So then again, I come back to that transfer conversation of, will the club look to get a box-to-box 8, someone who's going to do that if they see Gray as that and he sees himself as that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I think, I mean, if he pushes him up into midfield as well, there's a conversation with Connor Roberts. But I was saying this, not long ago, like if I'm Connor Roberts and I've got 12 months left on my deal, after what Farker had said when he came in about age, experience, and being the perfect player, he was in team of the season previously. We forget that, Joe. Previously, he was in team of the season in the Championship, scored the decisive goal against Borough, which sent Burnley up, captained them a fair few times that season as well. And he barely played. So if you're Connor Roberts, I know there was a couple of injury issues, but he was on the bench a hell of a lot of time as well, which means that you're fit, So if I'm Connor Roberts, I'm looking at it and thinking, well, if he's just not going to play me and there's no clarity on what Archie Gray is doing in terms of him being at Leeds and obviously him being a right back or a central midfielder, why would I consider Leeds? And that, 100%. I guess maybe that is maybe the worry, because you do look at Rasmus and think, well, is he going to think, because Farker's not had the experience with him yet? And like you just said about the microwave bloody meal thing, about him coming back and Farker believing that he can do wonders with him. I just think some players are not able to be repaired, especially at their age they're at,
I think there's a case as well for Roberts. Like, I'm not massive on him, if I'm being totally honest, Connor, but it depends who gets that job, right, at Burnley. If a Lampard comes through the door, I know he's a stinking manager, but he has an aura which he'll be able to convince a player to stay. Liam Rosenior is a great coach. If he says to Roberts, look, I'm going to make you my right back, you a player of the year, like you've just mentioned, again, he could convince him to stay. Scott Parker's been linked. I mean, he potentially has an aura, being an ex-England player and stuff that could work. Do you know what I mean? But just out of interest, took a bit of stick for suggesting Liam Rosenior at Burnley's a problem next season. Because I don't rate Parker, I don't rate Lampard, and I wouldn't be overly concerned. But if Liam Rosenior went to Burnley, I would. Do you agree with that, or do you think I'm over egging Rosenior?
I was really surprised when Hull got rid of him, and I remember there was a lot of people saying, "Well, how have you not got promoted?" There's obviously Liam Delap, there's Philogene there, there was Tyler Morton and Jacob Greaves and stuff. But it was a little bit like, well, where were those players before Rosenior came in? You know what I mean? He's developed them to a certain level. He's very articulate. He comes across as very level-headed, and is almost like a successor to Company. He likes to keep possession-based football. But I'll tell you what, Joe, they're one of the best teams we played last season by a country mile.
Probably the best over 2 games, or Southampton, but outside of Southampton.
Yeah, I thought that in both games they were right in it against us. Right in it. It was 50-50. So I mean, to bring them to that level, and I understand what people are saying in terms of that squad, but he had to really bring that squad together, as a unit and improve them. And it's been a bit mad how there's been a lot of sort of, people saying, well, he didn't get them promoted. But it's like, well, but he's also improved a hell of a lot when he's gone to Hull and got them in the position where they are competing, of which they weren't doing before. So I like Rosenior, and I think the succession plan to someone like Company from toward Rosenior makes way more sense in terms of if you're wanting to follow that path than a Lampard or a Scott Parker. I guess Scott Parker plays possession-based football, but do you know what, Joe? He's been out of the game for too long now, hasn't he? I think. I think
he went Club Brugge, didn't he? He went Club Brugge and bombed over there as well. I think he did a bit of Champions League or Europa League, one of them, but he just absolutely bombed. So, yeah, I think, like you say, Rosenior's a forward-thinking coach, and you could argue he'll have better players. I know Hull had some very, very good players, but I think Liam Delap got injured towards the end of the season, and they didn't have a recognised 9. Had they have had that, maybe they got into the playoffs. It was very harsh, and I think if he rocks up at Burnley, he'll do a good job, for sure. Should we talk a little bit about some transfers, bro? Because Luke asked right at the top of the show, who are realistic signings you think we're going to make? Obviously, considering the ones that we've been linked to. Let me get your thoughts on Skip, Connor, because I disagree that I think he's too good for the Championship. So I don't see that being as a realistic signing for Leeds United.
Yeah. I think the issue is, for me, like, he's not going to go out on loan again. That ain't going to happen. So he's going to want a permanent signing. He's homegrown at Spurs. So Spurs are probably going to think, right, we'll keep him around, i.e. Scott Carson-esque. But he's not going to want to do that. But I think that's going to increase his price a little bit. You know, if they're right. Well, if you want him, you have to pay a little bit of a premium on him. I mean, I think there's problems with Rodon when it comes to money. The valuation that they've set on him with this extended contract that they've put on you, that extra year. I think Levy's just gone, right, well, now we've got an 8 to 10 million. Now we've got an extended contract on. I'm going to put his minimum value at maybe 8 to 10 million quid. You know, max value, anything plus 12 million quid. And I think that's probably the market that maybe Ipswich, Fenerbahce will play in. And I'm not sure Leeds can play in that market. With Skip, you're probably looking at something similar. You know, I can't imagine. I mean, he won the league with Norwich, didn't he? And he was brilliant for Farke in that 6 role. I'd love to see him in Ampadu. That'd be unbelievable. Then you're going to have a conversation about Archie Gray, because like you just said, the Gray, you know, with the Gray family and stuff like that, are they going to be happy with him playing right back? Probably not. But I'll tell you what, Joe, worst case scenario, Archie was to leave. If you're looking at a scenario going into next season, I mean, they're very different profiles, because Archie's more box to box. But if you're looking at a scenario where you've got Skip and Purdue at a base, and then someone like Connor Roberts at right back, and if Archie was to go, touch wood, he doesn't. But worst case scenario, and Leeds are able to make that profit and put it against the sustainability and PSR, that's not a bad scenario, is it really? If we're to buy Skip, maybe.
If we're to buy Skip, yeah. I don't want Gray to go. I'm not saying you want Gray to go by any stretch of the imagination, but I just feel that we need to keep Gray for another year. This is and then if we get promoted, which I think we will, I know it's early to say, but if we get promoted, he then gives us a year in the Prem, and then at that point, you're probably looking at, because I think a lot of Leeds fans are wild when you ask them about Gray. They want 50, 60.
Yeah,
it's like you're never getting that in the... Never.
But do you remember that with Phillips? It was 60, 70 million because he was an England international. Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, I do at the time, yeah. But there was more of a conversation to be had about Phillips because of that than there is Gray now. As good as he is, and we talk about generational, etc., but like Adam Wharton went for 20-odd million and he's now playing in the Euros, do you know what I mean? So you're not going to get 50s and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
30, 35, mate, I'm telling you. That's what
potentially, yeah. So I just think that, though, then could double after a season in the Premier League. So I think if you're thinking about PSR, maybe kick that can down the road and look to really maximise your value in the Prem, I think.
Yeah. Sure. I'd agree with that, yeah.
Mate, what do you reckon to the links to Callum O'Hare? I mean, it's come from Team Talk and this exclusive. We're going to try sign him on, he's out of contract, so there's no transfer fee owed, which is absolutely huge. I'd be well on board with it. Do you think... Because previously we talk about smart deals, Leeds United not doing the smart deals. I think last season, although it didn't turn out to be the case, getting Pirro was a smart deal. That's something that all of us could see, go get it done. They went and got it done. Would you say the same for O'Hare? Like he fits what we need, right?
Why don't we just go Rob Coventry's squad? Do you know what I mean? We'll go get Eccles, we'll go get Sheaf, we'll go get O'Hare, we'll get Van Ewyck, we'll get them. Yeah. I mean, what recruitment policy they've got? They had, what was it? Doyle, they had him, didn't they? The City lad, they had him last year as well, didn't they?
Jokeres, mate. Jokeres,
yeah, of course. Yeah. I think O'Hare would be one of them where you go, oh, okay, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Because it's like one of those where he's got like Grealish profile about him, as I'm not overhyping him too much, but he's got that silky control. You can't get the ball off him. If you go near him, he's going to go over. He's good with both feet. He's direct. And yeah, man, O'Hare would be like one of those signings where you go, oh, I'm absolutely on board with that. Like, we need someone like him as well, a bit of a you-know-what house.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, I think that is exactly what we need right now. Someone like him would be, I think the Championship would take note with that as well. And at some point we have got to see, I mean, it's on the first day of the window, but I've said on my stream that I think we need to be a bit more realistic because someone said to me, well, why can't we stump up the money for Joe Rodon, like 12 million quid or whatever? And that's someone hypothetically putting, a fee out there and saying, well, we should be able to do that. But it's like, well, we still owe money back. We're still paying installments. We've still got these players coming back and we've not dealt with them yet in terms of, Verber and Harrison officially yet and stuff like that. So Leeds are paying the majority of that when it comes to contracts. We need to see some outgoings. And I feel like this is the thing with fans, not just Leeds fans, that we play a game of Football Manager and it's like ins, when we need to realistically look at the money that we owe when it comes to like the money, with regards to PSR, which is like 33.7 mil. We need to get some of it out the door as quickly as possible, really, when it comes to that. And then we need to start thinking about incomings, mate. I think we're going to see outgoings before incomings, to be honest.
Yeah. I think you make a great point, like, because if look, we haven't got copious amounts of funds. So if you're going to spend upwards of 10 million somewhere, is centre back it? You know what I mean? I'm not too sure. Can you? And I know I've been saying this all week, and I don't want to sound like too disparaging towards Joe Rodon, but I think you can go get another Joe Rodon in Europe for a small fee. I'd rather we kept Joe Rodon. I'd like to have continuity. He's a top player, etc. But I don't know. I just think he's just like a normal centre back. Does that make sense, Connor? Like, or am I being too thingy? He's not like a Ben White. Like I thought. I know he plays right back now, but when I watched Ben White, he was a Rolls Royce. Whereas there are many other Joe Rodons out there, and I just think if we were to spend a large chunk of our transfer fee just to bring in Joe, like you've mentioned there, I'd be a bit like, I'm not too sure about that. I don't know. Is that a wild take?
No, it's not. No, it's not, mate. I sort of agree with you. I think there's definitely other centre backs, especially at this level. I feel like Leeds are always going to be a premium, aren't they? Because of the club we're at. So what it feels like we're always going to have to sort of stretch the budget a little bit. But yeah, no, I mean, like if we sign Rodon now, and it's because we probably feel like he's our player anyway, which he's not. But if you signed him, you'd be a bit like, all right, good. Now what? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like exactly. You would feel like that, wouldn't you? Whereas if we'd have got Ben White, do you remember back in the day, we'd have been like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because Ben was just next level, wasn't he? He was just unbelievable. Like, I loved Ben White. I mean, he's changed a bit now. The London scene's grabbed hold of him, but under Bielsa, man, the joy to watch. I mean, Pablo was just mesmeric. Pablo under Bielsa was something else, but I tell you what, Joe, Ben White wasn't far off. Ben White wasn't. I love Ben White. Like, what a player. So it is. I get what people are saying, but the impact isn't anywhere near as what we had with White. So I know what you mean, Joe. Yeah, I think his ball playing out from the back got better. It did get better, and that would be helpful. But yeah, I think like the thing is, Joe, now, you'll get 19, 20, 21-year-old defenders who have all been accustomed coming through the academies of playing out from the back. Exactly. They're all accustomed to doing it right now. So it is one of those things where, if you're physically able and you're good with the ball at your feet, then you're going to be decent championship level, aren't you? I don't think the standards 100%. Are too high for a championship centre-back. So
no. Zero Lightning says there were 0 centre-backs who were better than Rodon in the Championship. 0. That's just not true, bro. That's looking through a Leeds United prism. Jacob Greaves, you had the Leicester boys, Wout Faes and Vestergaard, Bednarak. Bednarak was doing what Joe Rodon was doing every week. Like, and I'm not doing that to be
better one at the club. There's a better one at the club.
Yeah, yeah, you could argue,
didn't stay fit, did he?
Yeah, and Ampadu actually got in the team of the season over Rodon for the EFL. You know what I mean? So, I think, that's a Leeds tinted glass looking at that. To be fair,
I think Paul's right though when he says, I've just seen Paul. I do feel Werber is, if we can, if Farkas up using that microwave again, if he's able to get Werber back, I think that would. You'd still want another centre backs. Cresswell's obviously going to go. I think Cooper's just almost going to be like a cheerleader / coach, isn't he, this season?
I think he'll accept a deal elsewhere, if I'm honest.
No, do you reckon? Yeah. We were chatting about it before, didn't we? And
he's got to play. He's got to play.
Yeah.
I thought what was quite interesting in the Athletic article as well is that...
Luke Riddle, bang on, by the way. Said that and got battered, but...
Yeah, by me as well.
You take Kipre on a free, man.
Yeah, no, on a free, for sure. What was I going to say? Shackleton's got offers. That was in the Athletic article by Nancy Frost, and said that he has got offers on the table from other clubs.
As far as Celtic.
Don't, man.
Is it Brownie at Ossett United?
Imagine Brownie fall.
No, I'm joking. Listen, we've said, haven't we, Joe? Like, he feels like a lower end, maybe top end League One player. I think lower end Championship, top end League One. I think Millwall fans would tell you the same, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so. As well, mate. So, what do you think? Is there any others, mate, that you've seen that have actually had credible links that you look at and say, okay, that could work? Or
I think the one, if you to establish some sort of relationship, I think what you've said, I think Gilchrist is a goer, definitely on loan. Obviously with what Ben was saying to you as well, in terms of him being open to offers for him, that makes a lot of sense. I think one that I'd be interested in as well is the Plymouth centre back Ashley Phillips. Spurs again.
Yeah, 100%.
Apparently they're looking at another loan for him. And you'd expect if he's been at Plymouth, it'd be high. It normally works that way, doesn't it, Joe? It's like lower end or top end, like a little bit like Ben White when he was at was it Peterborough before us?
Yeah, he was.
But like top end League One, bottom Championship. Like obviously Ashley Phillips was with Plymouth, and then coming to Leeds, top end. Honestly, mate, like I thought when he came up against us, he was their best player every single time, and I thought he shut out. I can't remember if it was Bamford or it was at Home Park. I think we won like 4-1, didn't we? It was in the cup, and I thought he was very good for them, which is weird when you say 1-4-1, but in terms of his personal standards. So someone like him, young lad as well, as we say, good ball player. That would make sense if we're able to establish some sort of relationship with Tottenham. And we have done with Rodon anyway, haven't we? Yeah. So that might be a goer. But
and even Spence, really, we took Spence as well, didn't we, for half the season? So
I mean that could work against us, but.
Yeah, maybe. Although I think he's getting it. I think Genoa are actually going to offer him a deal now, or trying to get a deal. So, it'll be interesting to see. So I was saying, sorry, I'm just reading the comments as we go. Would love to see Johnny Rowe in our side next season. Yeah, listen, there's loads. Forget about it there. Just looking at the team of the season, and you got Morgan Whittaker, you've got Sammy Schmodix, but like I say, it's been very quiet on this front. But one thing I'll say for the window we had last season, it was very quiet. No one really had mentioned Ampadu and stuff like that from a journalistic perspective anyway, and then bam, it was done within fucking 24, 48 hours. So, we'll have to wait and see. But would you look to maybe do that in the Championship, Connor? Could you get a Schmodix, a Whittaker, a O'Hare? We've mentioned players in the Championship down the leagues, even centre-backs and stuff. Would you be looking to do that, say? Or even them loanees, for example. You mentioned Jacob Greaves, Tyler Morton at Liverpool, who was at Hull. Right, that was a team challenging for top 6. Send him to someone who's going to try win the league, move him up a level. Would you be? Is there anyone in the Championship you'd earmark?
Yeah, weirdly, Carl just said it. Then do you remember when we were after Tanaka, Dusseldorf? They bombed out against Bochum in the Bundesliga, the playoffs. Don't they? I wish we had that system, but we don't. They bombed out. He's remained with Dusseldorf in Bundesliga 2. I mean, he's had an unbelievable season. I remember it was between him and Gruev, really, who we signed, because they were both classified as CMs. Like we've said, Joe, there's so much talent. Like, when you look at techie players like number 10s or advanced number 8s, imagine just scouting the Spanish leagues. even when it was like all the med leagues and stuff, where you look at Emi Buendia, you look at Elias Sher, you look at Samu Saiz, all these players who technically are so good. And if you can get the mental part of it right, you can get them for good deals. That's what I'd be looking at as well. I hope Leeds do something like that. But when I mentioned Tanaka there, you're hoping that with the Farke link to Germany, which worked at Norwich several times, you're hoping that maybe we can pick up someone from the German league like a Tanaka. But yeah, man, I mean, if that's the problem in it with like Schmodix, Whittaker, Jack Clark, if they're English teams and they perform well, you're going to have to pay a premium. Clark, I can still see going to like Brentford or something like that, or Bournemouth or somewhere like that. I can see Whittaker not really getting... Whittaker, I don't mind Whittaker. I think he's decent. I think I'd like to see him for another season, to be honest. I wonder if he's just going to commit his future to Plymouth again for another season. It'd be interesting to see his development. But Schmodix is one, isn't he? Like in that number 10. He kept Blackburn up by himself, didn't he? But I'd be stunned if like an Everton just didn't take a chance on him. I really would be. But yeah, mate, I think what we've got to do, and some of Luke just said, sounds like Connor wants Steve Webber to come in with his link. I think he meant Stuart Webber, but yeah, no. I think that they're going to lean on Farke a bit, Joe. I think they're going to lean on him. As I said, they went in for McLean. That got laughed out the building. Sargent, I don't know. I mean, that was all Farke that when they signed him. So that'd be interesting to see. But I think like Johnny Rowe as another example. I've seen people mention Godfrey. I think that's a bit far-fetched. But yeah, mate. Yeah, there's a few down there. I mean, I mentioned a while back when it came to left backs, like Sam McCallum. Norwich let him go. High ceiling, young player. They let him go. I wouldn't have minded seeing him as a replacement left back. Giannoulis as well, very, very decent at this level. I think we've got to start looking at the Norwich links that Farke has, because I think we'll try exploit that again. To be honest with you, especially with him going on about experience again.
I don't think we'll get a 9, but I would take Sargent. Honestly, I would take Sargent. Yeah, I would. I think it'd be great for us. To be fair, just a younger Bamford, right?
I'm not allowed to mention Charlie Taylor again as well. I'm seeing that in the comment section. I've banned myself from saying it this window.
A bit left field. Dave's asked, "Were you at the Foos last night?"
I was indeed, mate. No, you won't be able to see it, will you?
Nice.
Where
were they on?
Manchester Old Trafford Cricket Ground.
Oh, nice.
Away from the stinking pit that is Old Trafford. Don't worry. Mate, it was just quality. I saw Arctic Monkeys there a year ago, and can we talk music? Or we're not allowed? Of course
we can, man.
Can we? Right. Yeah. So, right. I've seen Arctic Monkeys about 6 or 7 times. Childhood band, Joe. Obviously grew up with them. Was in Sheffield for university as well, so kind of grew up on that scene as well. Massive fan of them. And then they came to the cricket ground last year. Me and my brother got tickets. Boiling sun, brilliant. And then you get in, and I know it's really basic to say, but he's so American now, it hurts. And like my favorite tunes. So 505 came on. If you're aware of 505,
I'm going back to 505.
Mate, and it builds and builds and builds and builds, and it's but then it hit the crescendo, and you're thinking, here we go, I'm going back. And he starts going, I'm going back. So nobody could get going. Do you know, he just killed it. And I'm like, Alex, just what are you doing? Take the leather jacket off, get the big boots off, get the Vans back on and the denim jacket, and get back to that Sheffield life with that dodgy trim. But yeah, mate, so I saw them there last year. But Dave Grohl, man, Joe, what a performer.
So I've seen Foo Fighters. I've seen him at Leeds Fest the same year that Kasabian were on. And
I think I was there, mate. I think it was like 2012.
Yeah, because The Cure did the Saturday, who I like The Cure, but actually I went to watch him live and he said, I'm not going to put on a show. It's not my style. Just pretend I'm doing it. And I went, I'm going to bed. This is not for me. A bit like you, like I need to be thing. And the Foo Fighters, I wasn't really into them at that point, bro. And then I watched them live, and I was like, oh my god, like they were amazing that year, man. They're so good live, right?
Mate, they're getting you feels as well. Like My Hero comes on, and it's just like, and obviously like with Taylor Hawkins passing.
Hero.
Oh mate, Taylor Hawkins passing away as well, like 2 years ago, which was devastating. Like, mate, it was. He's like 52, 53, and he is that still the best performer. He just and then because I've just got this link with the Arctic Monkeys, and when I'm seeing Alex Turner perform, and he's just doing the old Danny Zuko's, of which there's only one Danny Zuko, Joe. Like he can't. He just he's just like my dad. My dad calls him a cabaret singer. So it's just like, mate, Dave Grohl all day for me now. I've decided. Yeah, even bought the merch, like a little so and so, but love it, mate.
Like a little Swifter.
Oh, mate, I've got stories about that as well. Flipping heck, like relatives going and she was saying that obviously because they were in Edinburgh the other night. By the way, she's making £2 billion from tickets on this tour. $2 billion, isn't it, bro? And mental. She's apparently like there's just like. Right, and everyone in the chat as well. I know we're going. Maybe we should like a music podcast, Joe. But have you ever cried at a gig, Joe? I've never cried at a gig. I've never felt that emotionally attached to a band, even though, like, obviously, Arctic Monkeys, Foo Fighters, Kasabian, etc. But I've never felt like that moment. And I've spoken to some of my cousins, mate. They're all crying. Everyone's crying at Taylor Swift. They can't like screaming. It's like Beatlemania. It's mental.
Crying, man.
Crying.
I don't know about that.
Crying.
I had an experience when I seen them. So I was lucky enough to see the Stone Roses at Victoria Theatre in Halifax, right? Because they did a secret gig. They did 2 secret gigs the week before when they'd done the comeback tour at the Etihad. And you had to have a bit of memorabilia. Well, I was lucky, obviously, from Halifax. So I rang my brother's girlfriend. She went down. She got me 2 tickets. So me and my mate Josh went from Middlesbrough. And there was 1,500 people, and I swear to God, the experience was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Some big heads went as well, like Liam Gallagher and stuff had gone across, because obviously it's quite close, and it was a secret gig, it was their first one back, etc. So it was such a mad experience. And then actually I'd seen him the week after on the opening night at the Etihad, and they were shit. Because Ian Brown's not great live. Like, he can't sing, right? And because there was that many people there, it was worse. Whereas when I seen it in the Victoria, like just a small theatre, 1,500 people, it was like, it was next level. So that was a mad experience. But yeah, no tears, not at all. But
Joe grills me, Joe, and everyone in the chat as well. What Leeds? How many people are there in Leeds? As in geographically, Joe, like, because the LS postcode is quite widespread in it. So I think it's like, it might be like 700,000, although you see some people saying it's like 1.4, but it's like 700,000. It's like Manchester is like what, 900,000, a million or whatever. Birmingham's like double that, whatever. London's the biggest. It absolutely jars me that there are not more bands from Leeds. I would 100% be flying the flag for a Leeds band, 100%, or like multiple. It's like just going past the pub the other day, mate, just driving past, and Missy just went, "Oh yeah, that's the Blossoms pub," and I went, "What? They're from Manchester?" And she went, "Yeah," and I was like, "Okay, it's just every band is from Manchester." I
actually seen the Blossoms in Stockton, man.
Oh, did you?
Again, really close. Yeah. Brilliant. Such a good.
But it's mad, isn't it, Joe? It's mad that, like Luke's just said, it just guys achieve some Mel B. It's like Leeds just doesn't produce any sort of like bands. It's mad. It's mad. Like, it is mad, and it like ones that hit the top level anyway.
Yeah, anyone who's in the like Middlesbrough area, Stockton, knows the Q Bar, and the Q Bar is like a little indie venue. But I swear to God, mate, you're fitting about a couple of hundred in there, and I was lucky enough to see the Blossoms there before they just went boof. But they're great. But yeah, mate, Manchester have always had a great music scene, haven't they?
It's awful, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awful. Yeah, it is. I can't lie to you, but you're right.
Someone just said as well, Yard Act as well from Leeds. They are decent. They're trying to crack them. Yeah, they're trying to crack America at the minute, like punk rock. Pigeon Detectives, by the way. This is why it's always mad with Ryan. Obviously, from the Pigeon Detective, me and Joe know.
One good song.
Can't remember the band. What was the first?
Take
album?
Take it
back now. Yeah, they were like my first ever gig in at Leeds Met. They were my first ever gig. So like, it was the O2 actually in Leeds. So yeah, like obviously there's respect there, but we just don't seem to break it, do we, Joe? We don't seem to break it. It grinds my gears that Kaiser Chiefs are our sort of.
Their first album was really good. Outside of that, I don't
Employment, yeah.
I know it'll anger people, that will, but yeah.
They're all J-Leeds.
I don't know, bro.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Fair play.
There you go. There's a task for those in the chat. Set up a band and make yourself famous from Leeds, man, so we can all get on board with it.
Also, Joe, Funky Joe says, I saw Queen in 82 at Ellen Road. My mum and dad saw that we're at that gig as well. So there you go. I saw Queen in 82 at Ellen Road.
So lucky. Like, to be fair, I always say this, like, if I could put myself one place in history to experience a gig, it would be Queen at Live Aid at Wembley.
Oh, yeah.
Pop me there.
Yeah.
And then just let me watch that, and then I'll come back. Do you know what I mean? That'd be it.
Yeah. There's one who, like, me and my dad like watch it quite a bit, and there's like, it's AC/DC, and they're playing like Hell's Bells, or they just start going, and it's at like Boca Juniors or River Plate Stadium in Argentina. Wow. And Joe, it is. You know what Argentinians are like.
Yeah, of course,
it's going off, and it is just. It's. If anybody's not seen it, AC/DC live in Argentina. Make it your next YouTube search after you've checked my videos out on Joe's.
Yeah. Do that. ELO Wembley. I do like ELO. To be fair, I do like ELO. It's a living thing. There you go.
I need to get some more gigs in. To be fair, I don't go to enough.
Nah, I don't.
We're too busy doing this and listening to podcasts.
Yeah. I tell you where I am going to see mid-July. It's Hardwick Festival. The Kooks are there. Do you remember the Kooks?
Oh yeah.
Jake Bugg and The View. Do you remember The View? The Scottish lads. I got the same jeans on for 4 days now. Yeah, so I'm gonna enjoy that. That takes me back to when I was
what were you like? I think my era. Obviously, I'm sort of 10, 15 years younger than Joe. But
he says
my
indie
band era was like Kooks. It was Foals. It was obviously Kasabian, Arctic Monkeys. That was sort of and I'm thinking of like, Pigeon Detectives, to be fair. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. There's sort of like the indie rock bands and stuff like that. Do you remember we'd have all the skinny jeans on and the fluffy hair? Yeah. That was
it's
mine.
It's similar for me, mate, really. Arctic Monkeys, Kasabian. I did like Maximo Park for a while.
Maximo Park. Mate, I'd still listen to Maximo Park now, to be honest.
Do you like Books from Boxers?
Books from Boxers, yeah. It's
a banging tune.
It's class. It is such a good tune. What's the other one they did as well? Books from Boxers, and then
High Velocity.
High Velocity.
Speeds of velocity. That one tune. Yeah, they were good, mate. Prior to that, fucking hell, my actual growing up, mate, was just pop. It was all pop. There wasn't outside of pop. When I was at school, mate, it was all that, man. You had fucking Busted, stuff like that. Spice Girls, that was mine. And then indie became, after that fact, I really, I tend to think so. I think there was only really Oasis and fucking Blur when I was young.
I've just seen Evie said One Night Only. Joe, who were One Night Only?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I don't know. One Night Only. That is a blast from the past. Oh, man. You'll have to let us know some tracks in the section below. I can't. It rings a bell.
Definitely. Who's your guilty pleasure, mate?
Oh, that's a good question. Don't know if it's guilty, but obviously, like, I'm a bit of an indie Cindy, but I probably would say I love a bit of Kendrick.
Yeah, that's not guilty though, is it?
I don't know if that's guilty though.
That's not guilty, man. I love me some rap, bro. I love me.
My brother's going to see Childish Gambino next week.
Nice.
But yeah, mate, probably that, because I always say, I just like indie music. What about you?
I love a power ballad, mate. Total Eclipse of the Heart and stuff like that. I love me some 80s, do you know what I mean? All that sort of stuff. Bit of Lionel Richie.
Oh, that's not guilty pleasure. No,
I guess not.
Another search, and if you've not done it, mate, Lionel Richie at Glastonbury when he cannot believe there's like flags of him. You know, like there was the memes of Lionel Richie ages ago, like just like, you know, when he'd be saying something and people would respond on Twitter with him, there'd be just these bloody, and he couldn't believe it. He was like, there's like 100,000 people there singing all night long. Unbelievable.
It's on my bucket list, to be fair. Glastonbury. I've never been. I would love to go. I would love to go to Glastonbury.
Yeah, I was contemplating Leeds again, but I can't do it. I mean, I've not done Leeds Fest I worked Leeds when I was about 22. I can't do that again. I don't have the stamina anymore, mate. I don't have the stamina for it. Like that, you just seen young kids going around with balloons and stuff like that. I just can't handle it anymore.
Yeah. Mate, 1 year, mate, I went to Leeds Fest on the Friday. Yeah, left the tent. I was with Millie and Maisie's mum at the time. Got a bus to Creamfields to see Chemical Brothers. And then came back on the Sunday to Leeds Fest. I could have gone away for the amount of money I spent. Do you know what I mean? But it
galvanised.
Oh, mate, yeah. Chemical Brothers are insane. I was lucky enough, mate, and this was at the O2 Wireless Festival, hard we call. I was lucky enough to see Daft Punk live, which, I mean, even still to this day, it was the best, man. Pyramid stage around the world, all this stuff, and they're not together anymore, are they? But if they ever came back and did like a world tour again, I'd go see them, because genuinely, mate, they were absolutely unbelievable.
Do you know? I don't know if anyone grew up with these lot, but I did, mate. What happened to Jamiroquai?
Yeah.
I used to love Jamiroquai. Bit of Little L, but yeah, no, I'd say I've thought of a better one actually. Guilty pleasure. I'd say, do you remember the Scissor Sisters?
Scissor Sisters, yeah.
And when the music ain't good, well, it's just too bad. Along a man of wood. Like, mate, I used to love the Scissor Sisters back in the day.
Oh, that's my Alpha Beat, mate. I like Alpha Beat, you know. Yeah, that's another one. And do you remember Tattoo? All the things she said, all the things she said. Bang. That tune's an actual banger, though.
Yeah,
it is actually a banger.
The music video was, was interesting as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very good at that time of my life. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It was one of them.
Paul, I can't blame you, to be honest.
Right, okay, let's finish on some football chat, man. Big up to Paul Bishop, who's just become a new member. Connor, likelihood that we actually get some business done. When will it be? How many will it be? Who will it be? What are your overriding thoughts right now?
Jesus. I reckon we'll see Somerville leave in the next 7 to 10 days. Bold predictions. Somerville leave in the next 7 to 10 days. I'm going to say he goes to play some football bingo. I reckon he'll go to Liverpool. Arnie Slot's first signing. I reckon he'll go there. And then when that happens, I think you'll start to see the dominoes falling. I could see us doing Roberts. Rodon, I don't think will happen. And I think I'm just going to be interested to see what happens with Verba, mate. Because I reckon they're going to wait on Verba and try convince him. And then, so I don't think we're going to see centre-back straight away. I think we're going to maybe go a little bit further up the pitch and see what happens there. But yeah, and I'll predict Johnny Rowe will replace Somerville.
Nice. I like that.
What do you reckon? Got any bold predictions?
No, I don't think so. I don't think, because Gary said last night on a stream, is there a chance that Somerville stays? There's not a cat in hell's chance for me. That'd be a bold prediction from him. So I don't think I would go as far as to say that. I know he's not pushing for a move, but he will go because the interest is too much. I'm actually now, we're actually in the win, but I don't think we'll do loads.
No,
I don't think we'll do loads. I don't think we'll get a 9. I don't think we'll get a keeper. I don't think with Aronson coming back, they might get one more 10 and leave James, Rutter, Aronson, and one more.
Oh, McKennie as well to Villa. What on earth? Oh,
mate, it's wild, isn't it?
Mad.
Wild.
What a move. What a move for him. Friggin' hell.
It's crazy. So do that. In terms of incomings, I'd like to see us get Alfie Gilchrist in, because he can play right centre-back or right-back.
That'd kill Roberts, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I reckon that's probably more likely anyway, and it's cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite interesting. I totally forgot about Phillips, but you make a good shout. Is if they try prices out of a move for Rodon, just say, well, give us Phillips on loan then. Thank you. Do you know what I mean? We'll take Phillips on loan. This is what I'm saying about how the gap of Rodon is easily pluggable, in my opinion, because there's plenty centre-backs.
Keep going on about Nathan Wood at Swansea. Got a good relationship with them as well, mate. He's so good. I can't believe he's not Prem. I think he started at Borough, didn't he?
I'm not too sure, bro. I couldn't tell you. I'm not.
All things Borough got a Joe Wayman. Apparently,
I was going to say, mate. Why are you asking me, mate? I'm not a fucking Borough fan. I don't know. I think it could be quiet, not just for us, but I think for the rest of the leagues because of the Euros. Especially for the first few weeks of the knockout stages, so many teams, so many games, etc. Players won't want to be talking with agents, etc. So
that's where the Verba thing becomes really difficult because he just said he just said essentially don't contact me throughout this period of time. He left it really open ended, and it's like one of those things where throughout the season we've known that Leeds and Mönchengladbach have been quite far away from an agreement with evaluation. So you're looking at that and thinking, well, all right then, well, if we're not going to agree to it, Leeds are going to play hardball. I tell you what, I'm not minding that in the Championship whatsoever. But they've got to wait, haven't they, Joe, till Austria go out?
Yeah, and they might not. I think they're an outside shout. To go deep into the tournament. They've got
come on, we haven't done Euros yet.
No, we haven't.
Let's do a little bit on Euros.
What do you want to know?
Well, okay. Who's your so your dark horse is Austria?
Austria, yeah. I think my dark horse is Austria. I think they're a good side. So, I think they're good. In terms of favourites, I think Portugal are going to be in with a massive shout. The only downside to Portugal is Roberto Martinez, but you might as well let Ronaldo manage it, maybe.
He will, won't he?
But they've got so many good players, man. I think Bruno Fernandes will have a barnstormer tournament, as much as that pains me to say. Mm-hmm. So they're in with the shout. You've got to fancy England. I know Southgate, but listen, at the end of the day, we've got the experience there now. We've been late into tournaments, so give that a shout.
Mate, I'm gutted though. I've got them in a sweepstake, and when you get them in a sweepstake and you've gone 20 quid in, I'm like, as soon as you get them in a sweepstake, mate, I'm like, I wouldn't have minded someone else, to be honest.
Yeah, I think. What do you think to England? Do you think they're in with a shot?
That defence worries me.
Yeah,
and the fact that they're putting Trent in midfield is like, hopefully later on in the tournament he maybe goes to. The thing is, Rice. You want Rice in the 8, don't you? So you want Rice in the 8. I'd love to see Wharton play, to be honest. Even if he just offers a bit.
Mainu as well.
Or Mainu, yeah, dirty mank bastard. But if Wharton, I like him. Mainu's a good player as well, to be fair to him. So, but I worry about that defense. But can you win a tournament with a defence that should have shipped 3 to Iceland?
That's the thing, innit? That's the thing. I was listening to some of it today as well, mate. They were talking about aerial prowess, because as much as everyone battered Maguire, we're going to miss him. And they were pulling up the stats for aerial duels won between Mark Guehi and Stones, and they were next to nothing. And in our group stage, we're coming up against Mitrovic and Vlahovic, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay. And all these teams that we're going to come up against, even your Rasmus Højlund, you've got Benjamin Sesko, them strikers are going to be like, get the balls into the box for me. And you could see a situation on set pieces where England get eaten alive a little bit. So Maguire will be a miss, man. He will be. Even Lewis Dunk's numbers, it were quite surprising. Lewis Dunk, he, by the way, he's not an international centre-back, Connor. He might be good in the Premier League, but he should not be playing for England for me.
He's not had a good season, has he? He's not had a good season.
They've been shipping goals for fun.
Yeah, it's like when you look at that's why I don't understand what they've done with Branthwaite, really, because he'd offer you a bit of balance, and he's a left footer and he's massive. So I'm just a little bit like,
I thought that was strange.
Yeah, it was. And Grealish, I'd have brought Grealish. I'd have still brought Grealish. I'd have kept Bowen at home and brought Grealish. Just offers more, doesn't he? So I did you about the Germans as well. Apparently they were absolutely elated that England didn't bring Grealish. I know he had a great season.
Really?
Apparently they were all stunned. Yeah, the Germans, they couldn't believe it because they were just like, oh, he offers something a bit different. And so I don't know. I don't know with the Euro thing. It just feels like we're suddenly a bit raw now, doesn't it? England are a bit raw.
Yeah, and we talk about experience because I can't remember. I think Declan Rice did an interview talking about experience, but I also think there is experience there from previous tournaments, but you've pulled quite a lot of it out with the likes of Maguire, with Grealish. Do you know what I mean? They've pulled some of it out of the squad.
Luke Shaw's not going to be fit until like the last stages, is he either?
I think he'll be a real ace in the pack, and I hope he gets used more. Is Eberici Eze? He's got to play him off the bench. He's got to give him 30 minutes. If we're struggling, if it's 0-0, he'll open doors for me. I really, really like Eze. It's funny seeing Crystal Palace fans rejoice, but after this Euros, they'll probably only have Wharton left. Guay will go. Eze will go. Who else is in that squad from Palace? Was it just... no, there's 4, isn't there?
There's Gahey, Wharton, Eze, and
Is that
Gahey, Henderson in it. In that.
Oh,
Sanderson
yeah,
there?
Henderson.
Sanderson
Yeah.
there?
No, you're right. Yeah. Ryan, look, seeing as I was unblocking Will, he says, new season, Connor, can we get an unblock? I promise not to bring up Bielsa.
Ryan, it's not the season of goodwill, mate, but I'm in a good mood. Joe's unblocked. Who did you unblock? Was it Barry Whitwell?
Barry
We'll
Whitwell,
do a trade for a trade, mate. We'll unblock you, mate. Can I say I didn't block him because he was mentioning Bielsa. Like, I'm happy to talk about Bielsa, but yeah.
It's because you were getting blamed for sacking Bielsa.
That's it. Yeah, it's all my fault. Yeah. But obviously, I was in Rad's ear, wasn't I? Rads, get rid of him.
Yeah.
Get rid of him.
How was that night,
in.
bro? How was that night when he responded to you mid-game? Like, what was you thinking? What the fuck? Like, I'd have been like, what's going on?
So a lot went through my head, really, because obviously I was working for Leeds Live at the time. So I thought, is this a good thing to put it out on social media? And I did think that. I thought, should I do this or should I not? But then I thought, fuck it. And I thought, we're 3-0 down. I'm absolutely wounded right now. I'm angry. And I can't remember if I messaged him. Yeah, well, I obviously did message him first. He won't randomly message me, but he still follows me. And I messaged him about 3 weeks ago, actually. I went, do you want to do an interview? He blanked me, the bastard.
Of course he did.
Well, why would he respond, Connor? But there you go. You got to try, haven't you? But we were 3-0 down, and it was absolutely horrendous. And I just got into this. I mean, he was replying like sort of once every 40 minutes, and it's horrendous. I feel so sorry for you, Leeds fans. I thought, I actually can't believe this is happening. And then I just thought, do you know what? Because the first bit of it, I actually put it online about half an hour, 40 minutes afterwards, because I was contemplating. And I thought, you know what? Now I'm not gonna keep it secret at all. Like, it's an absolute embarrassment what's happening right now. And he's well, yeah. I don't want to get sued or anything, but I didn't think he was in the best frame of mind at that point when it came to seeing clearly. Let's put it that way. And I just thought, it's just not professional. So I thought, you know what? Screw it, let's put on. But yeah, the feeling was mental. It was absolutely mental. The owner of the football club has messaged me. On it, and he's having a meltdown. What is going on? So, but it just shows
one behind the scenes we were, bro. League One.
But it also just shows he was very insecure, wasn't he? Extremely insecure. Because if you're a strong, business-minded person, you've got courage with your convictions, as Simon Jordan says, but he was just so, and that's where it hurt a little bit with Bielsa, Joe, because I fully believed them. I remember when Kinnear went on the Square Ball podcast and it was all pretty much put on Bielsa. Do you remember? It was all Bielsa's fault. Bielsa didn't want any new players. He was essentially read between the lines. He was wedded to the bunch and he didn't want to get any new players. And then it came out afterwards by Kinnear that actually Bielsa wanted a whole new team and we couldn't afford that. Well, that wasn't said at the time. No. So you believe, because Bielsa's been stubborn his entire career, and he was stubborn at Leeds. We all saw that on the pitch, and with personnel left out and stuff like that. We all thought with the stubbornness that this was just Bielsa and he wouldn't change and this, that, and the other. And I stand by it. I did think at that time we did need a change. We did. I thought there needed to be a fresh voice, but me and you and we'd obviously been doing this space. I thought it was going to be an Emery, a Gallardo. Obviously, Iriola wasn't there at the time in terms of in the frame, but it had to be one of those two or someone else who was realistic, like a son of Bielsa who could come in and carry on the great work. But then they went for, it's just Joe.
2 years they were chatting to that guy. The
most depressing. Because if you'd have asked me, and you have had chats about it, if you could go back and keep Bielsa, would you have kept Bielsa? Well, yeah, of course, with what we had afterwards, 100%. But could they have got it right afterwards? And had a beautiful succession plan there. Of course they could have. Of course they could have got that right. But
because ultimately, Jesse Marsch did keep us up. I think it was more so on the players, but he did keep us up. But then, to then go into that following season, what did we have? About 3 games, do you reckon, where we thought, oh, actually, we might be all right here. We beat Chelsea, and it turns out Chelsea was shit that year. Tuchel got sacked. Everybody, But outside of that, it was just, oh mate, that season was so hard, man. Like, so depressing.
But it's afterwards as well. Do you remember Rob and Mickey would do the podcast? Do you remember? And it was like the Bielsa podcast. Do you remember that back in the day? Like,
yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and they'd do the Bielsa, and it was. Do you know what, Joe? It's only afterwards, when they all say you widows and all this sort of stuff. And in the moment, I was so anxious about Leeds getting up. I was like, Leeds have to get up, Leeds have to get up. You were enjoying it way more than I was because we love Leeds the exact same amount, but you were enjoying it. I was like, we have to get up, we have to get up, we have to get up. That was my whole thing. And I went about that in the wrong way, in my opinion. I should have just enjoyed the ride a little bit more, but it's only after Bielsa. It is so true. We are all widows. I love the man. I just thought we needed a change, and it's the best football I've ever seen. My dad is 58. He's seen Leeds win titles. He's seen Leeds in Europe. He's seen everything with Leeds. He still says that's the best football he's ever seen. So it's like
There was an old gadgie who was in, and I know older generation won't like to hear it, but like there was an old gadgie who stopped
Shout out
me.
Mo, by the way. Shout out Mo.
Yeah, shout out Mo. He actually stopped me at the game once, and I mean, he'd seen it all reviewed a lot, and he said, look, the football under Bielsa was better, and a lot of that is due to the fact of how we played, and the pitches, and the balls, and all that sort of stuff. It just improved it, but yeah, there's people that were even back then said it's the best, and I used to say that to people, like, remember this as a case in time, because you wish it away, It's
a thing in football, innit? You're always thinking, what next? And Bielsa was just like, I've said to you, Joe, haven't I? Like, I'm going to Bilbao next week. I will be going to Bilbao Stadium. I'd love to.
Wear your Leeds shirt, mate. You'll be fine.
Oh, mate, I'm going to wear my Leeds shirt, and I'm hoping some Leeds fan a Bilbao fan looks at me, points at me, and goes, Leeds United Bielsa, and he can speak English, and we can talk about it. Like, it is like, he is just.
I was telling you before we came live, we were chatting about mate, which Connor's drinking, which is an Argentinian. I think that's where its origins are. But I was in Malaga, and I walked past a store with the guy that was selling it, and I had a quick look in the shop, and there was Argentina flags everywhere, and I just went to him, Bielsa, and he went, El Loco! And then I showed him my tattoo, and we just got chatting, he's that kind of guy, isn't he? So, yeah, we'll be forever.
There'll never be a thing like you like said, mate, you'll afterwards, you realise, and we're doing this stuff. We don't get everything right. We're just fans. And me and you have had polar opposite opinions in the past, but we're mates. We're good mates, and you do get stuff wrong, and you've got stuff wrong, Joe. I've got stuff wrong. Everyone gets stuff wrong, and Bielsa was a period in time where I probably reflected more on of not properly enjoying it, because Leeds just had me in this constant anxiety spiral. Like, I'm so much more chilled out about Leeds now, Joe. Like, so much more, because it was wild with Bielsa on it. It was wild. So it was just like, man. And yeah, Funky Jones says O'Leary and RCL run was magic. Yeah, it was, it was. We were just probably a little bit too young, maybe.
Yeah. I think as well, like that period there, had we have not spent what we did and did it like that, we'd now be one of the top six. Do you know what I mean? That's I can't help but look at that O'Leary era as with a sense of, because I just feel after we lost all that money and we went out, we missed the real big time. You know what I mean? I'm not like. Tottenham fans will disagree, Chelsea fans will disagree, but we're bigger clubs than them before the top six was a thing, and before Chelsea got their money from fucking Abramovich and that. So we'd have been there for me, bro, had we not been dickheads with money, you know what I mean? And
but Droopy's even said last season was enjoyable as well. Do you know what, Droopy? Like, I don't know, like, it was. But I wasn't anxiety-ridden like I was with Bielsa at all. Like, don't get me wrong, results would frustrate you and you'd be gutted. But I was even coming out Wembley, Joe, and you'll have seen it. And I was like, I was gutted, but I wasn't like, I was distraught with Bielsa, like, as well. And you were as well. Like, when it just felt different. I don't know what it was.
I think as well, because when we failed under Bielsa, I think there was a lot of nervousness around, will he stay? there was a lot of nervousness around the club's direction with the owners that we had. I think the reason everyone was pretty chilled this one, that is because we've got such good ownership. Do you know what I mean? That we're like, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. I think that's why. Yeah. However, if it happened next season, then we'll start to worry because you're going 3 seasons into Championship and that. But I just think with the 49ers and that behind us, I was like, you know what? Dust yourself down, you go again. It is what it is.
I think there is a Bielsa thing and a Farke thing. That I don't have an attachment with Farke. Yeah, I think you know what it was though with Bielsa, Joe. Bielsa was like, he'd never been in England before, managed in England. He was the first club, like we were the first club he'd had, and it was such a, he was such a unique, weird guy. And it was like he was just ours, wasn't he? He was like, and everyone would protect Bielsa no matter what. It was visceral at the start. It was like us against everybody, and it felt like that. And with Farke, I don't know. I'm not that. I'm just not. Don't really have that bond with him as I did with Bielsa.
And You're that's not going to, though, I don't think.
No.
I don't
It's
think very
so.
much like Klopp at Liverpool. It's Wenger at Arsenal. Although our period was very small, it's just a testament to Bielsa in such a short space of time, how he could have such an impact on a fan base. You know what I mean? I think that will, We'll always have that time, mate. We'll always have that time.
We will.
And I've not been to a game at Ellen Road since he left.
Do you think, obviously, it's circumstance, in it? But do you think you'd have carried on going if Bielsa would have stayed?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you reckon?
Jesse. Yeah, I fucking hate that man, to be honest, mate. Yeah.
Well, he got a 0-0 draw against France, didn't he? He'll be celebrating.
Yeah,
that.
He did, mate. I never forget. What about when we got beat 4-0, man? Because that got reminded the other day when Canada got beat 4-0. And by Holland, and then someone retweeted my tweet with him celebrating the 4 goals against City, where where we got beat 4-0, and it's like,
remember at Leicester? Remember Leicester the first game? It was Leicester as well. The first game, do you remember? Went to the King Power and we lost in a massive game, and he's like, "Stay with me," and it's like, mate, like. You just don't get this. Like, he just did not connect with Leeds as a working class club. He just didn't have a clue. And it was,
he's a dickhead.
Bielsa would have been down the tunnel, wouldn't he? Down the tunnel, not speaking, and would have just been focused on the next game. Jesse was just polar opposites. And you realise that as soon as, what a salesman, but as soon as he got onto the pitch, the first game we got battered by Villa, didn't we? Was that the first game or was that the second? No, it was Leicester then Villa, wasn't it?
Yeah,
just got
Leicester
battered
was
twice.
First, yeah. I can't wait for Copa America to see Uruguay dunk on America.
Have they got them in the group?
Yeah.
Have they? Oh, that'd be brilliant. Yeah, we'll have to.
I can't wait, bro, because for me it's like the amount of and again, it's nothing to do with the it's Jesse I dislike, but what I will say, all the USMNT accounts who said Bielsa was shit and Jesse was great, they're gonna get to experience Bielsa ball firsthand when he goes through America like a knife through butter, and Darwin Núñez is getting hat tricks and that. Do you know what I mean? I can't wait.
Man, they've got a good team as well, haven't they? Like Benton Core's in there as well. They've not got a bad team at all.
No.
I think it's gonna be.
What's the guy at Real Madrid, man? What's he called?
Valverde.
Valverde, the different gravies. So
Uruguay versus Canada final, please. Yeah, that'd be funny. You see, already Alfonso Alves was like talking about the training that Marsch is doing. I can't remember what he was saying.
What did he say?
It was you have to type it in afterwards, but he was essentially saying like, yeah, the training's pretty unique. It's like he's just saying it's shit, isn't he? Let's be honest. You know what I mean? When you've been where he's been with like Bayern Munich and stuff like that, Thomas Tuchel, etc., and then he's going to Jesse Marsch. It's like Christ as well.
He wanted that USA job. He's only took it so he can have a route into Home Nation World Cup. That's all that is, I think, man. Anyway, right, mate. We'll leave it there. We've gone on long enough, I think. Listen, folks, smash a like on the video. I'll be back tonight at 7:30 for Germany versus Scotland. So if you're up for some Euros, come and watch that. Connor, do you have anything over the next few days? Because I know you're on holiday next week.
No, mate, just a lot of the Leeds stuff. Yeah, just covering Leeds all the time as well. Might dip into the Euro market every now and again, but yeah, mate, probably just going to be Leeds centric.
Yeah. Okay. Well, any lives planned or all like that? Just your normal room
maybe.
mill?
Yeah. Well, it's like room mill tomorrow, mate, and then obviously we're gonna do stuff live from Bilbao next week as well, which should be decent. So we'll wait and see what happens over there, mate.
I'm surprised you get away with that. I was told strictly no streaming while I'm on holiday. So.
Yeah, but I'm off with a mate to Bilbao.
Oh,
so,
right. Okay. Well, that's perfect.
It's me and a mate, and he's a Scum fan as well. So I'll make him film with the bastard.
Yeah, love that. Right. Okay, folks. There you have it. Connor will be filming while away. I'll be here tonight. And yeah, just keep it locked on both channels. And we'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye, folks. Bye-bye.